Hey everybody, welcome back to STRonomics, or as we've rebranded, STRonomics. That's an inside joke. It's not so inside anymore, is it? We've talked about it too much. It's an old joke that we'll keep going back to. What's up, Kenny?
Not much. I'm feeling very Florida today.
Yeah, that shirt kind of scared me when you jumped on here for a second. It was so bright. I had to turn my lights off.
You were like, oh, it's plaid day, isn't it? And I'm like, all right, I'll change my shirt. And
yeah, I'm gonna buy you. I need your home address because I'm gonna send you some shirts.
What? People love this shirt.
I didn't say I don't like it. That's like your own issue there that you're dealing with. I mean, I never said I didn't like it. I just I'm gonna send you some shirts.
All right, for those of you who are listening who want to see the shirt, go. What is it? Are these up on your YouTube channel? You can watch these on your YouTube.
Yeah. So if you're listening to the podcast, Kenny didn't even know this till 5 minutes ago. All of the STRonomics podcast, the videos you can catch on the Build STR Wealth YouTube channel. Just Build STR Wealth, and Kenny will drop them onto the STR Insights here in the next coming weeks. As well, we'll get Kenny caught up. He'll come into the modern day with YouTube.
But you can come. Make sure you subscribe, like, and subscribe. But check out. You know what? Only like and subscribe if you like the shirt. So we'll see. So all the new subscribers you get, that's how many people like the shirt, Bill. So
yeah. So go over to YouTube, and you can comment on Kenny's shirt over there. Mine's pretty plain Jane. I'm straight white today.
Straight white.
So, Kenny, let's talk about today on people want to make more money, with their short-term rentals. And a lot of them may be struggling right now, specifically those that have just rode the wave of COVID and they're not sure what to do now to generate more revenue, more income. So let's kind of run through some things that are little to no cost. This is what I think is really important. We're not talking about, adding a swim spa for 20 grand or putting in a ropes course in your backyard or adding on a tree house as an ADU for $100,000, but low to no cost. So why don't we just start with, some no cost stuff like
I've
rearranging your images or updating your photos and your listing. What are your thoughts on some of those things?
Yeah, I mean okay. So my biggest thing that I think everybody listening right now should do anyway, and you need to do this once a year, you need to audit all of your expenses. So first off, if you're listening to this, you need to track your expenses. I know there's a lot of you who probably aren't doing that. You need to literally track all your expenses for your short-term rentals.
By the way, did you update your mastermind benchmarks by the 10th this month? I'm just asking.
I'll ask my VA. So, but you need to literally go in and track all your expenses, and okay, that's step number one. Okay. Then you need to evaluate and see if there's new opportunities or competitors in the space. One of the biggest ones that I've seen this year, and I'm amazed that I didn't even think, it kind of opened my mind, is in the insurance space. So we all know that proper insurance is kind of like the gold standard for short-term rentals. However, there have been some competitors competitors, like brokers almost, steadily, safely, Bill shaking his head no. They're brokers.
Just read the exclusions before you go in and try to save money.
The exclusions. Let me just go there, because hold on. I mean, the thing is, proper doesn't insure everywhere, and these insurers can insure in some of these other areas. And so it might not be the best, but it could cover you in certain instances. And you can pair that. They also provide umbrella coverage as well and different things. Obviously work with an attorney on this stuff to really understand the exclusions. Jeff Hampton at
STRlawguys.com.
Jinx. Yeah, there we go.
Double jinx blackout.
Yeah, there you go. But no, seriously, I mean, so these guys reached out to me, wondering if I wanted to, promote. And I was like, well, hold on. I need to see what you offer and throw my rentals through the gauntlet first. And so I did. And some of them, it was better, in terms of coverage, what they offered, the rates, everything. And other ones, it wasn't. But simply shopping. But the one that it was better, it was $2,000 cheaper than what I was currently doing. So I ran it through Jeff. I checked all, all the exclusions, asking him all the hard questions. And sure enough, everything checked out. So we're rolling forward.
So you're switching from proper to steadily?
Yeah, like so steadily is like a broker. So they found another insurer that offers like.
Who was the underwriter?
Oh gosh.
You don't need to spend time
I'm
finding
like,
it.
look at the paperwork here. I don't know. I just like, hey, I did this. But,
so I don't disagree with you. I just want to make sure that everybody understands with any insurance, including proper, you should have somebody look at the exclusions. You don't want to get Jim Folgered, right? That's what I always go back to with insurance. And you know, you brought up a great point. What's that?
Can you explain what Jim Folgered is? Because that's a person that we know in a situation.
He had a house burned down in the Smokies a couple years ago, and he didn't have enough coverage. And the insurance carrier, he thought, because he just looked at the deck page, that he had rental coverage for like $125,000 a year, but it was only based on future bookings, and then that was going to put them into hotels. It cost him a couple $100,000, and he wasn't insured. He didn't have enough insurance on replacement for his dwelling either. I think it was like a $200,000 loss that he ended up taking after that property burned down.
Wow.
With that being said, Kenny, you mentioned something. My Montana house I just purchased is not insured by proper on the dwelling because they would not insure it. Because literally the closest fire station, I'm in the middle of the Northwest Montana forest, is like 6 miles away, and it's a volunteer fire department. So I did have to insure with State Farm. And the loss of rental income works in the same way. There's no money that comes to me. They just take care of the guests that are displaced. But I know that going in, I can't get anything else there. I might look at steadily for that. But then I did go back to proper and got a $2 million liability policy. They'll do the liability, but they would not insure the dwelling. And that's, I think a lot of people don't understand that on the insurance is typically it's going to be more cost efficient for us as the buyer if we have separate policies, you know, and put them together, as opposed to trying to run a larger amount of liability into our actual homeowner's policy. So I think that's a great tip to evaluate and go through the insurance side.
Not just insurance. I probably should have just said pest control. So we wouldn't have gotten down this rabbit hole of insurance.
Well, it's everything, right? It's all of your suppliers.
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody operates on propane and like you live in California or something and you've never had anything that has propane, next month and like June and July is buying month for propane. So don't wait until your tank goes empty in December or January and pay $4 a gallon. Pre-buy 500 gallons or whatever at $2 a gallon. And the same thing in the Northeast, you know, people still have the heating oil. And that gets ridiculously expensive for old properties. But propane for people in the Smokies, you know, North Carolina, wherever, that's a huge deal for people that don't know that now is the time to prepay. And you can get like a 50, 60% discount. You know, I closed on my Banner Elk property last year, Kenny, in February. And holy shit, there was 20% of propane left. And literally it went empty. The app that we had was, Amerigas, they're horrible. And I was paying $4.37 or almost $4.40 a gallon for 1,000-gallon tank. And we had to refill it. And I've had to do it 3 times. Wow. You know, so, and I didn't know that you could pre-buy propane. I found out last summer, you know, super quick that I can save 50%. And I bought like 1,500 gallons at like $2 or something like that. So I think insurance, like you said, past all of your services. I just switched pool companies because they raised my rates. Pool cleaning down in Gulf Shores. I have 7 properties with pools down there. And I'm saving $40 a month. Well, that's really important, specifically when 6 of those are co-host properties, right? And I can switch. And you can do one of 2 things. You can either pass that savings on to your client as a co-host, or you can save that as profit for yourself. You can decide how you want to handle that, but it creates opportunity. As an owner, for my one pool that I own down there, I'm saving $40 a month.
Yeah. And I'll just say this too. Like, I have found that there's always new and hungry businesses entering the space, you know, and willing to undercut just to get the business. You know, and they might even have a better product and they're just trying to get recognition, you know, and this, so like taking advantage, always keeping your eye out. You might audit and go, hey, you know what? I can't find anybody that can offer the same things at the same rates or I can't find anybody who's going to beat these prices. And it is what it is. But that's one way though. So let's go on to number 2. What's the second way, Bill?
I mean, I think it has to do with your listing. And I think and I'm going to talk about not like getting new professional images because that's a pretty significant expense, but the order of your images from number 1 through number 50. And those first 5 and the second 5, those first 10 images are so critical that you understand. And it's usually, and you see this when people send you listings, and it's just this hodgepodge. It's, it's the view, which is great, but then it's a bathroom. Then it's like the family room, then it's the game room, and then it's a laundry room. And there's just no rhyme or reason. They've just uploaded their photos in mass and left them wherever Airbnb or Vrbo puts them. And when you do upload in mass, just FYI, they never go in the order that you're uploading them. So I've done that where I've gone in my folder and put them in order of the way I want them to go in, and they just don't end up going that way. It's based on how fast they actually download, into the OTA. So you're going to have to reorder your images. I think there's 2 ways to be able to strategize, and I actually use both. I don't stick with one system. It's really property dependent, but if you go in and you take the storytelling method, right? So that's literally somebody arrives to your property. What do they see? It's like my Banner Elk property. I do showcase my hero image shot, like the back of the house with the massive 2 acres on the backyard and the ridiculous fire pit, and they show the guest house and that type of stuff. But then I go and I transition and I show them my sign. It's like when they're pulling in the end of my road, they see my Elk Lodge sign. And I do that for 2 reasons, right? And this is a way you can save money. I don't want to get distracted here, but I literally sent out an email about this yesterday before we recorded this, is to have your logo, your brand. It could be a sign, could just be your logo in the first 5 images. And have, what's the name of your property in Watkins Glen, Kenny?
Lake Valley Legends. I didn't name it.
So Lake Valley Legends logo. He might have a sign inside the house, on the front of the house, out in the front yard. That's in the first 5 images. And it says Lake Valley Legends at Watkins Glen, New York. And then you take the very first line of your description and you write in, welcome to Lake Valley Legends in Watkins Glen, New York. So now the savvy booker knows the ones that are looking to book off platform, they can go and do. So if you go right now and do a search, and Kenny's going to do this while I'm telling you this, go to Google and type in, what was it? Lake what? Something Legends?
Lake Valley Legends.
Yeah. Type in Lake Valley Legends, Airbnb, Watkins Glen, New York, and see if Kenny's direct booking site pulls up. And hopefully it does. Did it? I know you're doing it right now.
I wasn't Googling it, no.
You should be Googling it so we can let them know if you can see it. So that's really important. So there's a lot of savvy bookers out there, a lot of savvy guests that want to book direct. Was that a nod like, yes, you found it?
I'm not looking, no. So no, I'll look it up.
I'm going to do it right now then while I'm talking. You do it while I talk.
Okay.
So there's a lot of people that are looking to book direct, right? So what happens is that this is an indirect way to make more money. So you're going to get them off platform. You're going to capture their information. They're going to book direct with you. If you're smart, you're charging the same amount as you would on Airbnb and Vrbo, but you're not paying the fees. So you actually are going to, make an extra 3 to 5% depending on how you're set up on each platform. But now you also own the customer. So that's part of the strategy of really being intentional with the order of your images. So I believe there's 2 ways. One, tell a story. Walk me through the property of what I'm going to experience when I get there. Drive in, park, walk in through the front door, show me the family room, show me the kitchen, show me the bedrooms, walk me out the back door to the fire pit, the hot tub. Do it in sequence of what I'm going to experience. And in the copy, tell me a story. Tell me the story as I go through it. The second way to be able to optimize your photos is going to go in and do it in order of value. So have that mega, image shot. If you're by a body of water, as Kenny has said many times in his research, make sure that you show the body of water in your hero image, right? Whether it's a lake, whether it's a river, a pond, ocean, whatever that is. But then show me, if your game room's the next most valuable thing, show me the game room. If you're marketing for a compression event, show me the compression event. And you'll have to change that. But take me through the value propositions of your property. If you have 3 shitty bedrooms and you have 1 amazing master suite, show me the master suite. but then show me something else. Push the shitty bedrooms to the back of the listing. Does that make sense? You can list them out chronologically, very simply in your description, but show me the best value first. Those are the two ways that I would optimize your photos. Did you find yours?
Yes.
Were you on first page?
So it's a little alarm. So I honestly didn't think about this. Because I bought a bed and breakfast, it is like plastered as a bed and breakfast. So like TripAdvisor shows up, like all the major like sites, like it even has like Google reviews for the bed and breakfast side. And it's on like some, Watkins Glen. So it's got like good like exposure.
Do you own all those? Did you get all that in the transfer when you bought the property? All those listings?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so no, I own it, like it's mine, but like it's got like everyone's talking about it as a bed and breakfast. So I've got to like figure out how to like change that. And anyway, it's a terrible example for this, but if
you
Google
could find
my
it.
stuff, you'll see like that's what pops up, and it's like.
So you saw all of that stuff first before you could find your direct booking listing, and that's going to be a very challenging task for you to be able to push that up. There's no question.
Right. Well, and I've been telling people too, so I created a Facebook page and I have scheduled posts with different like things to do, restaurants to eat at. And so I'll tell guests, and it'll be in the house too, like go to this Facebook page, like the Facebook page or whatever. It'll tell you a lot of information and just different things. And so people go there and like, I just push them that way too. So that way it's like, I can have this like direction. While I try to figure out this whole bed and breakfast,
right?
I might even just rebrand, to be honest. So,
right.
Especially with the renovation I'm going to do, because, it's fun.
Right. So, I mean, I think one of the other things that's a long-term play, Kenny, for free, is ask your guests for feedback, and two things here. So, like the day before they check out. Even like if you send your checkout message, I used to send mine in the evening, like 4 or 5 o'clock. Now I send my checkout message at like 8 a.m. the morning before checkout, because that's usually when mom or grandma or whoever's going to start cleaning up. And I want them to enjoy their day. So I tell them they don't have to do that whole laundry list. But even before that, I'm asking them, like, I think it's a 6:30 deploy. Hey, if you have any feedback about things that you would love for us to implement, or a place that we failed you, please let me know before you check out. This does two things. Number one, this is a long-term play. It saves you from getting bad reviews because they already get their frustration off of their chest, right? So when they come, if they want to bitch and complain, then they're bitching and complaining to me inside of platform or text or email or whatever it is, and it mitigates it from going into the review, right? Because I'll reply, I'll call them, I'll have dialogue, I'll apologize, I'll tell them I'm accept accountability, I'm going to fix it, whatever their issue is. But most importantly, even on the flip side of that, is a lot of them say, hey, I would love to see this in your kitchen. I would love to see this or that or whatever it is. And then if I tell them that I'm going to implement it, it gives me the opportunity to actually do that. And some of the things are very small that I could just order, and have there. And that's honestly, how we started doing a lot of our feminine products, because I didn't think about that when I was stocking the property, and somebody requested that. So I took a picture. I had my cleaners take a picture, shipped it to the cleaners, take a picture of the new setup, and then send it to them. And you know what they feel now, Kenny? They feel ownership. So they're going to want to come back because they feel there's this connection to that property. It's not like a hotel where they check in, they check out, they don't have interaction really with anybody. And you can tell Marriott whatever you want. They're not going to do anything different at the JW Marriott for Bill or for Kenny. But we as hosts can. So number one, with that type of communication, you can mitigate bad reviews. Two, you can actually get ownership if you actually implement and then follow up with that person. That's one of the reasons that I love, my new platform, Kenny, Market My STR, because it has a CRM in it. So now I'm able to go in when I get that interaction with a guest, because they're already in my CRM, either through the booking from OwnerRez, zapping into all the contact information into it, or StayFi, which will automatically zap that information via Zapier. So if Kenny comes in and he says, hey, I would really love to see more pink flamingo Hawaiian shirts when I come next time. And then if I go buy that pink flamingo shirt and then have it hanging put it on a hanger, put it in the closet, take a picture of it, and then send it to him and say, hey, Kenny, you know what? I've got this shirt waiting for you next time you come back. And I'm going to do this for every one of my guests. Thank you so much for the tremendous feedback. You really helped us improve our business. Kenny's like, man, that was all me. You know what? Now there's that association with that property that will increase the likelihood of you coming back. You have ownership in it.
Yeah. I mean, this is more of a Florida shirt, but Hawaiian, that's okay. He's like, what? You don't wear Hawaiian shirts, but I'll add on to that too and say that getting the reviews, we talked about this in an earlier podcast, but just getting the review in and of itself is really important, especially on the OTAs. So even if you're doing direct bookings, you need to encourage them to preferably leave you a Google review or a Facebook review somewhere where people can see it publicly, to kind of get you like notice and popularity. These OTAs, I mean, think about like an Amazon product. The popular items are items that are getting reviews, not necessarily the rating. People don't care. People care about rating, but like the OTAs are ranking things and taking into account reviews, the number of reviews. So encouraging your guests, messaging your guests, and asking for reviews can actually increase your revenue. That is statistically proven. Doesn't cost anything to do that. Just to ask them, hey, not just, hey, right after they check out, hey, can you leave me a review? But send a follow-up. And guess, that follow-up, even if it increases the amount of reviews you get by 10% or 20%, that can equate to increase in revenue as well. So getting just reviews, whether positive or negative, will actually raise you in the rankings and help you out. So
we'll have to change the title of this podcast because it's not little to no cost. It's actually everything we gave them was free, for these tips and how to make more money. And these things do move the needle, especially if you can stack all of these things together. And I would just kind of go incrementally, and go through all 4 of these components to be able to update, because they will have a positive impact. Some of them, like a couple of things I shared with you, might take a little bit more time. One thing I would recommend from an investment standpoint, if you don't have StayFi, go to StayFi, because you want to be capturing, even if you only have a 2-bedroom that sleeps, 4 or 6 people, think about it. If you're capturing the booker and your 2-bedroom sleeps 6, now you're adding 5 more people. You are 5xing the amount of people to go into your email list. So you're going to grow that email list 5 times faster. And that's the most important asset that we can own.
Yeah. So there's your little cost right there. StayFi as well as Market My STR. Get those 2. There it is. Package those 2 together and build your list, build your people who you can direct market to, so you don't have to rely on the OTAs. I think that's the biggest draw for me, is not having to rely on Airbnb or VRBO or any other of the stupid changes they might make, that impact me as a host. We have to start paying to be ranked, that's
coming. That's coming very, very soon.
That's going to come. And so
that'll be here by the end of the year, just FYI.
Yeah. So if people with bigger pockets, no pun intended.
No pun intended.
Yeah. So people with deeper pockets, I'll say that. People with deeper pockets are going to pay more and drop you lower. And there's going to be a lot harder to maximize revenue on those OTAs. So start building your email list today.
The only positive potentially to that, we can talk about this on another episode, is if they're spending big bucks for a listing, because I think it will be listing by listing, they're going to have to sustain price integrity. I don't think you can see Vacasa come in, especially with the financial troubles they're in right now, and be able to spend $500 a month on a listing and then drop rates. So hopefully that will help with rate sustainability. But I think that's 100% going to be in play on Airbnb by the end of the year, if not sooner. Have insider information that it is in development right now. It's pretty close to being done. I don't know how long they'll beta or test it, but no question we will see pay to play by the end of the year.
Jeez. Okay. Well,
just prepare now.
First.
Yep. Awesome. Thanks, Kenny. Great episode. If you guys have any questions, just hit up Kenny_Bedwell on IG. I am Bill Faith, FAETH 73 on IG. And if you have enjoyed what you're listening, please just take 10 seconds and leave us a review wherever you are listening to podcasts. Happy hosting, everybody.